Hey guys, so welcome to today's tutorial. For today, we'll be making a smoky top, and I'll be needing my tape rule, my thread, and my elastic thread. I got it for 150 naira here. My scissors, my material, my fabric, of course. I'm using a crepe fabric. It's not so stretchy. And of course, I'll be using my measurement, round bust 22, length 14. So to get our smoky, to cut our fabric, we'll be multiplying our round bust by 2, which is 22 multiplied by 2, which is going to give me 44. So the fabric I'll be cutting will be 44 by 14 inches. So I'll just go straight and cut out the 44 by 14 inches right now. So that is what I just did. So now it's time to reel my elastic thread into my reeler, and that is what I'm doing. I'm going to be doing this by hand because using the machine to reel it might not really give me the kind of results that I want. So I'm reeling it with my hand just to make it easier and make my work faster. And so when I am done with this, I'm going to put my reeler into my bobbin case and fix it properly, and then fix my bobbin into my machine, and then we'll continue from there. Okay, so I'm just fixing my bobbin into my bobbin case. I hope you can see that. So I'll keep this somewhere. So next now is to bring out my elastic thread, with from the machine, using my needle, of course, and that was what I did. Perfect. So now I'm going to try out what I have done, whether the elastic is, check my tension and every other thing. I made sure that the tension is, at the highest number, just to make sure that I get the perfect results. And this is very beautiful. I'm okay with what I have here. So the next thing I'll do now is to weave my fabric, the 44 by 14 inches that I cut earlier on. I'll weave all sides of the fabric, all the 4 sides. And now I'm back to my sewing machine, and what I'm going to do now is to leave 1 inch hemming allowance to work with. And when I am done leaving that hemming allowance, I'll start sewing from that 1 inch. So, and that is what we are going to do until we get to the very end of this fabric. Not exactly very end, it depends on the style you're making. If you want a full, smoky top, you can do it to the very end. You can see that this is very beautiful, and I'm okay with it. So I'll just continue. You can, of course, also the distance between your seam depends on you. If you want it to be very tight, you can leave like ½ inch. If you want it to be loose, you can leave like 1 inch, or it all depends on you. But in this case, I'm using ½ inch or even less, because I want it to be very tight. I want the smoke to be very tight, and that's what I'm doing. I hope you are enjoying this video and you're learning. Okay, so here we are. It's time to hem that upper part, the 1 inch allowance that I left the other time. That is what I am hemming right now, because my work has to be very neat. So now I am done with that. The next thing now will be to hem the base of the top. So I'm taking in 1½ inch allowance, hemming allowance, of course. So that's what I'm doing. I'm folding in 1½ inch. If you like, you can hem like ½ inch, you can hem 2 inches. It all depends on you, your design, your style. So what I'm doing now is to fold the whole fabric into 2, and I'll just run a stitch on 10 inches. I'll measure it. Remember that our round bust is 22 inches, so I'm using 10 inches. That is 20 inches. It will give me 20 inches, and it is an elastic top, so it is going to stretch to fit into the body. So now let's make our work much more neater now by folding the rough edges in and run a stitch on it. And that's what I'm doing. I'm doing it for both sides of the top. We always want a neat job, right? So we need to work towards it. So that is it. I'm holding down all those parts that I don't want, to be floating around. So now it's time to cut the sleeve. So I'm using 4 inches by 9 inches for the sleeve band. So I'll cut 2 pieces of that, and also cut 4 inches by 20 inches for the bow to decorate the sleeve. So what I'll do now is just to fold the sleeve band into 2 and then run a stitch on both 2 pieces. And I'll also turn it out with my screwdriver. If you have a loop turner, you can use it, but I'm using a screwdriver and it works perfectly for me. And also for the bow piece, I'll run a stitch on it like so, and then leave the ending part. I won't run a stitch on that part, and so that it will be easy for me to turn it out. I'll go to my ironing table, iron it, and then here we are. So I'll just fold like ½ inch in a little bit, that part that I did not run a stitch on the other time, and now run a stitch on it, just to cover up all the rough edges. We don't want to leave rough edges on our outfit. So now that we are ready and set, the next thing now is to make our bow. So I want to make my bow right now. I'm folding the 20 inches by 4 inches into 2, and then I'm placing it on the band piece, and then I'll now wrap it up with another piece, to form a bow. I hope you understand. I have my sleeve band piece and my bow piece, so I'm wrapping both up with another piece just to hold it together to form a bow and a band. That is what I did there. So I'll run a stitch on that part and cut out all the excesses that I have there. Run a back stitch on it just to secure it perfectly. So I'll cut out all the excess threads and the excess fabric that I have there. And the next thing I'm going to do is to turn it out. Turn it out like that. It's not going to be easy because it's a little bit tight, but it is quite achievable. So just turn it out like that, and then you can also push your stitch area to the back like so, and your sleeve and bow is ready. So I'll do the other piece too, and when I am done, we'll attach this to the smoky top that we made earlier. So here we are. I'll run a stitch on that part, on what I used to wrap the bow, just so that it doesn't come off when I wear it or when the child wears it. So I'll do the same thing for the other piece, and then I'll attach it to my top. Okay, so now let's get started. So now I'll measure 2.5 inches from the center, and then I'll stitch my band on that part. My sleeve, yes, my sleeve piece on that part. And that is what I'm doing. And I'm also going to do the same thing for the back. This is the front. I'll attach it to both the front and the back. Also 2.5 inches from the center back. And then I'll place my sleeve on that part and run a stitch on it. Sorry, my thread came out from the needle, so I had to fix it back. Okay, so I'll just run a stitch on it, and I'll do the same thing for the other sleeve, and our top is ready. Thank you very much. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Make sure you try it out and tag me when you are done with your project. Bye.